Hello and welcome to Fluency Unlocked, the podcast that helps you master English and speak it with confidence. I'm your host, and today we're not just talking about a tip or a trick. We are taking a deep dive into a technique that many of the world's most successful polyglots swear by. It's a method that could completely change the way you practice speaking, breaking you through that frustrating plateau you might be stuck on. We're talking about shadowing. Have you ever had that feeling? You've spent months, maybe even years, studying English. You can read an article, you can watch a movie with subtitles, you understand what people are saying to you for the most part. But then the moment comes when you need to respond, and it's like a switch flips off in your brain. You can follow a conversation, you know the grammar rules logically, but when it's your turn to speak, silence. The words just get stuck. Your pronunciation feels clumsy and awkward, and that natural, effortless rhythm that native speakers have, it seems totally out of reach. If that little story hits close to home, then I want you to know you are not alone. This is one of the most common hurdles in language learning. But the good news is, there is a way to train yourself to leap over it. Today, we're going to unpack the secret of shadowing, a powerful method that promises to bridge that gap between passive understanding and active, confident speaking. So grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's get started on this journey to fluency. So, what exactly is this shadowing thing? You might have heard the term floating around online. Basically, it's a language learning technique where you listen to a recording of a native speaker and you repeat what they say in real time with the smallest possible delay. Imagine you're walking just behind someone, perfectly matching their every step. You are their shadow. In this case, your voice is the shadow of the original speaker's voice. Now, it's really important to distinguish this from the classic listen and repeat method we all did in school. That's where you hear a phrase, the audio pauses, and then you repeat it into the silence. That's a good starting point, but shadowing is the next level. With shadowing, there is no pause. You are speaking at the same time as the model speaker, or just a fraction of a second behind them. The concept was popularized by Professor Alexander Arguelles, an American linguist and a true hyperpolyglot. He was looking for a way to maximize his learning time and to actively engage his listening and speaking muscles simultaneously, even while doing other things like walking. He found that by shadowing, he could get a full-body workout for his language skills. It was like training his entire linguistic system at once. And trust me, this will feel incredibly strange at first. The first time you try it, you'll likely stumble, miss words, and feel like you're just making noise. You might not even understand what you're saying. But here's the secret. That's not just okay, it's a crucial part of the process. You're intentionally bypassing the analytical part of your brain, the part that wants to stop, think, translate, and check grammar rules. Instead, you start to build a direct, physical, almost instinctual connection between the sound you hear and the words you produce. You're moving from thinking about the language to actually feeling it in your body, in your mouth, and in your ears. Okay, so it sounds interesting, maybe a little weird, but what makes it so much more effective than other speaking practice? The beauty of it is that the benefits are multifaceted. Shadowing is like a Swiss Army knife for fixing the most common speaking problems. Let's break down the main advantages. First, and this is the one everyone talks about, is the massive improvement in your pronunciation and accent. Let's be honest, this is a huge goal for most of us. By closely and repeatedly mimicking an authentic voice, you are literally retraining the muscles in your mouth, tongue, and jaw. This is physical exercise. Think about it. Your mouth is accustomed to the sounds of your native language. To produce new sounds accurately, you need to develop muscle memory. Shadowing is the gym for your mouth. It's how you master those notoriously difficult sounds in English, like the TH in this and three, or the subtle vowel differences in words like live and leave. With regular practice, these sounds stop being theoretical concepts and start becoming natural movements. Second, and just as important, you will master intonation, rhythm, and stress, what linguists call prosody. This is the music of a language. It's the rise and fall of the voice, the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. This is often the biggest giveaway that someone is a non-native speaker. Textbooks simply can't teach you this intuitive flow. English, for example, is a stress-timed language. The rhythm comes from the stressed syllables, and we swallow the unstressed ones. For instance, we don't say, I want to go to the store. We say, I want to go to the store. Shadowing forces you to not just hear this music, but to replicate it. You start to internalize the natural melody, which is a giant leap towards sounding authentic. Third, your listening skills will skyrocket. This might seem counterintuitive since you're the one speaking, but to shadow effectively, you have to engage in a level of deep, active listening that is almost meditative. You're not just passively hearing words, you're processing every nuance in real time. The speaker's pace, their pauses, their emotional tone. This intense focus trains your brain to catch details you would normally miss. Soon, you'll find that understanding fast-talking native English speakers in movies, podcasts, or real conversations becomes much easier. And finally, it builds incredible fluency and confidence. Fluency isn't about knowing every word, it's about the ability to produce language smoothly and automatically, without long, awkward pauses. Because you're speaking continuously during shadowing, you are training your brain to bridge the gap between thought and speech. You reduce that processing time. And as the physical act of speaking becomes easier and more familiar, your confidence gets a massive boost. You start to trust your mouth to produce the language, freeing up your mind to focus on what you want to say, not how to say it. Convinced you should give this a try? Awesome. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you actually do this? It's not complicated, but following a few steps will make it much more effective. Here's how it works. Step 1. Choose your materials wisely. This is, without a doubt, the most important step. Get this wrong and you'll set yourself up for frustration. You need 3 things. 1. Audio that is clear. 2. Spoken by a voice you find pleasant and easy to understand. And 3. It absolutely must come with a 100% accurate transcript. For beginners, it is essential to start slow. I repeat, start slow. Trying to shadow a fast-paced political podcast on day one is a recipe for disaster. So where do you find this material? Podcasts designed for English learners are a goldmine. If you're learning English, try resources like Espresso English, Simple English News Daily, or Voice of America Learning English. They're clear, slow-paced, and come with transcripts, making them perfect for shadowing practice. Audiobooks, especially those for young adults or children, are another brilliant option because the narration is often very clear and deliberate. TED Talks are also great because they're engaging and almost always have professionally made transcripts. Step 2. The preparation phase. Listen and read. Before you even attempt to shadow, you need to prime your brain. Take your selected audio clip, let's say it's 2 or 3 minutes long, and just listen to it once while reading the transcript. Don't try to do anything else. Just get a feel for the content, the vocabulary, and the speaker's natural pace. Step 3. Read along with the speaker. Now, play the audio again. This time, I want you to read the transcript out loud, trying your best to match the speaker's timing exactly. This isn't shadowing yet. It's more like a warm-up. You're building a bridge between the written words you see and the sounds you hear, getting a feel for the rhythm before you take the training wheels off. Do this a couple of times until it feels relatively comfortable. Step 4. All right, it's time for the magic. True shadowing. Now, you have a choice. You can either put the transcript away completely or just glance at it if you get lost. Play the recording and start speaking along with it. Remember, you're trying to be their echo, just a split second behind them. The first few tries will be messy. You will stumble, you will miss words, you will mumble. This is normal. The single most important rule is do not stop. If you miss a word or a sentence, just jump back in as soon as you can. The goal is to maintain the continuous flow of speech. A pro tip here is use headphones. This allows you to hear the original audio clearly in one ear while also hearing your own voice, so you can better match the two. Step 5. Repetition is your best friend. Here is where the real progress happens. Do not shadow a piece of audio once and then move on. That's like going to the gym and only doing one repetition of an exercise. The magic is in the repetition. Work with the same short audio clip over and over again, maybe 5, 10, or even 15 times. With each repetition, you'll notice something amazing happens. The words will start to flow more easily. Your pronunciation will get sharper. You'll anticipate the speaker's pauses. The phrases will start to feel like they are your own. This is your brain building new neural pathways. Step 6. Record yourself and compare. This final step is optional, but if you are serious about refining your accent, it is pure gold. It might feel a bit uncomfortable or cringy at first, but trust me, it's worth it. Use your phone to record yourself shadowing the clip. Then, listen to the original recording, and immediately after, listen to your own version. The differences will be immediately obvious. You'll hear exactly which vowel sounds you're struggling with, where your intonation is flat, or which words you're mispronouncing. This self-correction is one of the fastest ways to improve. Remember, a shadowing session doesn't need to be an hour long. A focused 15-minute session every single day is infinitely more effective than a 2-hour session once a week. It's all about consistency. Now, As with any powerful technique, there are a few common pitfalls people fall into with shadowing. Let's shine a light on them so you can navigate around them. The first and most common trap is choosing material that is way too difficult. Eagerness is great, but trying to shadow a university lecture when you're at an intermediate level will only lead to frustration and make you want to quit. So, what do you do instead? Be honest about your current level. If you can't comfortably understand at least 80–90% of the audio, it's too hard for shadowing. There is no shame in using materials for beginners or even children. The goal is successful mimicry, not intellectual challenge. The second trap is focusing too much on meaning. This is a hard one for our brains to let go of. We're wired to seek comprehension, but in the initial stages of shadowing a new clip, your primary goal is purely phonological. It's about the sounds. Give yourself permission to not understand every word. The comprehension will come as a natural byproduct of repeated listening, but it's not the main goal of the exercise itself. The third pitfall is inconsistent practice. Shadowing is not a magic pill, it's a workout. You can't expect to see results if you only do it once in a while. So, what to do instead? Make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. Try habit stacking. Link your 15 minutes of shadowing to an existing daily habit. For example, right after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will do my shadowing session. Or do it on your daily commute. Make it automatic. Finally, the last trap is being a passive, robotic mimic. As you get more comfortable, don't just copy the words, copy the feeling. Pay attention to the speaker's emotional tone. Are they excited, passionate, serious, sarcastic? Try to convey that same energy in your own voice. This is the difference between simply having good pronunciation and sounding truly natural and expressive. You have to become an actor, playing the role of the speaker. Once you've been practicing for a while and feel confident with the basics, you can start to incorporate more advanced methods to push your skills even further. First, you can progress to blind shadowing. This is where you shadow a piece of audio without ever having seen the transcript. This is a true test of your listening skills and forces you to rely 100% on your ears to catch and reproduce the sounds. You can also start shadowing more challenging and diverse materials. Move from slow learner podcasts to native level content. Try shadowing fast-talking YouTubers, complex scenes from movies, or podcasts with multiple speakers and overlapping dialogue. This will train your ear to handle the messiness of real-world speech. Another fascinating technique is interpretive shadowing. If you're shadowing a video, like a TED Talk for example, don't just copy the words. Copy the speaker's body language, their hand gestures, their facial expressions. This engages your whole body in the act of communication and helps you connect with the cultural nuances of the language on a much deeper level. Finally, try shadowing different accents. Once you feel comfortable with a standard American or British accent, for example, challenge yourself by shadowing speakers with Australian, Irish, or regional US accents. This will dramatically improve your ability to understand a much wider range of people. The beauty of shadowing is that it's an infinitely scalable tool that can grow with you all the way to fluency. So there you have it, shadowing. It's more than just a technique. It's a fundamental shift in how you practice. It's the method that takes you from being a passive student of a language to an active, physical participant. It retrains your ears to listen deeply, your mouth to move in new ways, and your brain to connect sound and speech automatically. The journey requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to feel a little silly at first, but the payoff is immense. Imagine a few months from now having a conversation and the words just flow. Imagine people complimenting you on how natural you sound. Imagine feeling truly, deeply confident in your ability to express yourself. That is the incredible promise of shadowing. So, here's my challenge to you. Don't just let this be an interesting podcast episode you heard. Let it be the day you started to make a real change. I want you to put this into action. Find one short audio clip today, just 1 or 2 minutes long. Grab your headphones, find the transcript, and do your very first shadowing session. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Your future fluent self is waiting. Go and meet them. Thank you for tuning in to Fluency Unlocked. Until next time, keep practicing your English every day. Keep speaking, keep shadowing, and keep learning. And remember, fluency in English isn't a destination, it's a daily habit. So start today.